Quiet Place is directed by John Krasinski, and it stars John Krasinski, The Room. Okay. And it also stars Emily Blunt, Noah Jupe, and Millicent Simmons. And this movie follows a family of 4 who lives on a post-apocalyptic world that is terrorized by blind monsters that hunt using their extremely heightened sense of hearing. Now, to start up this review, I really want to bring up the direction from this movie from John Krasinski. Now, this is John Krasinski's 3rd movie to direct, and it's probably one of his first very popular movies to direct. And he does a fantastic job. There's a lot of times in this movie that just make you just feel so on edge. You are just like, it's so intense. Some of the best parts of this movie actually aren't really even, I wouldn't even say horror. They're just very intense, and you can really feel it throughout this entire movie.
Yeah, and I've seen an interview where John Krasinski said that he wanted to make this movie not about the scares, but more about the actual family and about what you would do to protect your family. And I feel like they really captured that very well in this movie, especially with using the obstacle of having very little dialogue in this movie. Even when they sign, they barely sign at all. So there's like very little dialogue and there's very little signing. And yet they still make you feel very connected to these characters, to this family, and you feel like the love that the family has with each other.
Yeah, and another thing is that Emily Blunt is in this movie, and to those of y'all who don't know, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are actually married in real life, and I really feel like that was a really good decision, because a movie like this where there's barely any dialogue, and so the feeling has to come from not any dialogue, just performances. I think it was a good decision to actually have people who actually do have a married relationship. They're married, so they actually have that relationship already embedded into them. So I really believe that kind of helped out to how the audience feels towards the characters in this movie.
Another cool thing about A Quiet Place is that they don't show you the beginning of this apocalyptic world where the monsters come to Earth and everything. They start off with like day 89, I think, and they just throw you into the fire pretty much. And with just one family who's been living through this and has a very concrete plan on how to live their lives and get through this.
And you can really tell that John Krasinski knows what people don't like about horror movies, which this movie is a horror movie. It's not full-on horror movie, but you can tell it's kind of the word it's going for. But you can tell the things he doesn't like about this movie and the things that he notices the audience don't like. And that is stupid decisions. So in this movie, I wouldn't really say that any character made a stupid decision. I would say maybe they would make, maybe one, maybe two, barely ever did they make like a decision that wasn't somewhat smart. All the decisions were either driven by the characters and how they felt about the other characters. They're all actual non-stupid decisions. And so this movie actually, you're watching these characters and you actually care about them because they're not stupid characters. They're not just characters that are there to get killed or to make you feel some kind of fear. They're real characters, real people.
And even the kids, well, for the most part, they don't make any really dumb decisions. Even the kids are pretty smart overall. And the cool thing about the daughter in this movie is that the actress who plays her, Millicent Simmons, she's actually deaf in real life. And she's deaf in the movie. So it's sort of a cool connection. And a cool directing decision was that whenever they would show the daughter, they would cut out all the sound, so it would just be like completely silent whenever they would show her. And then when they would go away from her, they would add the sound again. And it was a good contrast to how she's seeing the world and how we're seeing the world.
The performances in this movie are also fantastic. I haven't seen John Krasinski in a lot of actual roles like this. I saw him in The Office. He does really good with comedic timing. But I haven't really seen him in any like serious roles. And for this movie, he does fantastic. And that's saying a lot for this movie. And I'm going to go and say that everybody in this movie does really good. And that's saying a lot because there's no dialogue. And I'm going to keep bringing that up. But it not only is that like a big thing about this movie, but it helps out. And also they find a way to work around the no talking, the no dialogue in order to actually make people feel for these people and these characters. And John Krasinski, Emily Blunt do fantastic in this movie, including the kids, which I don't know much about them, but they did really good in this movie.
The performances are even so great that some of the scenes actually had me tearing up a little bit because of how emotional it was and how emotional their performances were. Now I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but I do want to say that I know that some people might feel like the movie ends pretty abruptly and not where they want it to end. But I feel like if the movie would have kept going on, it would have turned into a movie that they weren't really going for. It would have went against what they're trying to strive for while making this movie.
As for negatives, I do have one very major negative to this movie that probably takes off quite a bit of the most points for it. And that is that there is a few jump scares in this movie. And I don't mind jump scares, but they're more towards some false jump scares. Like whenever something comes out and pops out and makes like this big jump scare that actually wouldn't be a jump scare in real life. And those were the moments that kind of disappointed me in this movie. Because the whole movie, as a whole, the movie was really good. The movie really had its standards and it really was grounded. But it came to those moments when it almost kind of lost all that momentum of the groundedness in its feeling. And so those jump scares I really feel like were some of the more bad parts of this movie.
And also one negative for me, which it might be just a nitpick, so it's not that big of a deal, but it did stick out a little bit to me, was there's some things that happened that just felt very convenient just to make the movie go forward. It's sort of hard to explain without saying what they were, but it just felt very convenient, some of the things that happened.
Doggy.
So guys, definitely check out A Quiet Place. It's fantastically directed, amazingly acted. So many great choices all across the movie. I did have that one kind of issue with it, but overall, it doesn't really mess with my enjoyment of the entire film.
A Quiet Place was definitely a unique movie with the complete silence, and it sort of felt like an indie movie, to be honest, but a really, really good one. And the performances, like Marquez said, were just phenomenal. Probably some of the best there's going to be all year. So we're going to say that A Quiet Place is 92% awesome.
So guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment below and tell us what you thought about this movie, please. Also, just so y'all know, if y'all haven't noticed, we are trying to review as many MCU movies as we possibly can before Infinity War comes out. Our next one will be over Marvel's The Avengers.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2 Awesome Men.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.